Hey guys, it's me, Mary Margaret Barfield. I'm coming to you today from Baden Elementary School. You might recognize that last name, Barfield. I am married to the legend, the beard, Matt Barfield, and he's here with me today. We share the love of Star Wars, so happy May the 4th to you. It is Star Wars Day, and I'm so excited to be here with you. I do have a guest, another guest. Are you ready? Chewbacca says, happy Star Wars Day. We're so excited that you have joined us. I do want to preface that we are in session today. It is a normal school day. The playground is right over there, and we have lots of tutoring groups maybe coming in. We are located in the media center today. So if you hear some shuffling of feet or some whispers or some screams, then you know that we are in full session today. So today I just wanted to talk to you guys about supporting the Promethean hybrid classroom. I am Mary Margaret Barfield, the Digital Learning and Media Innovation Facilitator. That's a fancy name. That's a fancy name. I wanted to preface to show you guys, talk to you about the county that we are in, give you a little insight. We are in Stanley County, right in the middle of North Carolina. We are a rural county with a population of around 65,000. In our county, we have 11 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 4 traditional high schools. We have a learning academy and 2 early colleges. One of those early colleges is a STEM focus located at one of the high schools, where the other early college is located at the local community college. My school, home of the Watts, Baden Watts, is located in a very small town, Baden, North Carolina. We have a total of 454 students. Of those 454 students, 340 are face-to-face, where 114 are virtual. We actually have 6 virtual teachers on site and 19 face-to-face teachers. We have had the option for in-person and virtual since the first day of school, which was August, so we've been here since day 1. Each classroom at our school has a Promethean active panel. And actually, I thought this might be interesting. Our 5th grade was actually moved to the middle school due to the having to stay 6 feet apart at the beginning of the year. So they are located now at the middle school. I do help them and support them as well. So I'm going back and forth some days, but hopefully they'll be back next year. So what a crazy year, guys. What a crazy year. It is a pandemic. Who would have thought that we would be living through that? We had to make lots and lots of changes this year. I know everyone has. And I wanted just to talk to you about, not only did we have to adopt distance learning, but we definitely had to embrace it. If we didn't embrace it, it wouldn't have gone very well. We had to think about the learning strategies and the use of technology. And we had to continue learning even when our students weren't in session here in the classrooms. There were several times this year that we were actually, our whole county was quarantined back to our rooms, our homes. And so we still had to do distance learning those few weeks that we did that. Some barriers to successful remote and online learning, definitely teacher preparedness. We were actually thrown into this big swimming pool, had to sink or swim, and we had to really prepare our teachers. Another barrier was access to online resources and devices. We, at this point right now, we are a one-to-one device to students, and that's very helpful in this time. And the biggest one, I think is the most important, is student support in the home. We really have to fight for our students who are remote learners and make sure that we are reaching them. For technology to be effective, teachers must first understand how to use it. That's the key. And then we got to figure out how to work it with our instruction. There is definitely an urgent need for professional development. We found that out as soon as we learned that we were going into remote learning, that we definitely needed some professional development to prepare our teachers. We had to be support for our teachers to use this technology better. We had to learn how to blend the methods of teaching and learning for both face-to-face learners and virtual learners. And we had to challenge that lesson variety to combat fatigue, while at the same time, learn to navigate those new learning environments. My position changed drastically. I went from supporting those, encouraging those students and actively engaging them, regardless of the mode of delivery, to also really being a support to my teachers. I was like their cheerleader. I had to provide meaningful, real-world professional learning. I also had to say, you can do this. This is something new. I know it's not what you want, but you can do it. You can do it. The first steps. Some of my educators were very ready and willing and excited to drive their instruction with technology, where some were a lot more reluctant. They did not want to step into that world. They wanted to stay right where they were. So what I had to do was I had to take inventory. What do I have right now that my teachers are familiar with that we can use to help them reach those learners? And Promethean popped in my mind. I had to use Promethean to bridge the gap. I had to connect teachers with those virtual learners. I had to connect those face-to-face learners with the virtual learners. And we had to navigate that new learning environment of remote. Using the active panel as a virtual presentation tool. Y'all, this was great. My teachers loved this. So we talked about how you joined a Google Meet on your panel, and then you joined the Google Meet on your Chromebook or laptop. You shared your screen of the panel and presented from the panel, and then you could still see and teach through your Chromebook to the students face to face. That was really great. The teachers loved that. They were able to not only connect and teach, but they were able to connect and see their students at the same time. Oh, I forgot one more thing. They already had this material that they had created. Miss Barfield, I've got these great presentations. I've got these great Active Studio slides that they wanted to use. And so they were able to use all of that with those virtual learners. Screen share. Screen share is a great tool, and our first presenter talked about screen share, and I loved her ideas as well. But this is a perfect social distance teaching to use that screen share. Teachers and students are able to share their screens from anywhere in the classroom. Now, I'm an oldie goldie. You heard that I had been teaching for over 20 years. So I remember the active slates and walking around the classroom with my active slate. This is a great alternative to that I can use this in the back of my classroom. I can share my screen. My students can share their screens as we interact together. I love it. We also use that a lot in faculty meetings as well. Use the active panel during quarantine. We had many teachers, as I'm sure everyone has, that were actually quarantined, but they weren't sick. They were just at home because they were exposed. So they wanted to engage with their students even though they were at home. So we hooked up a webcam up to the panels, and we were actually able to let them come in via webcam and actually teach from their classrooms. I'm, like I said, an oldie goldie. Don't know if I'm an 80s kid. Y'all remember Max Headroom? That's what this reminded me of. Made me laugh every time, but the kids loved it. Even though they had just seen them the day before in person, and then they see them on the screen, they cheered and loved it. It was great. Teachers were still able to connect with their students. The students were able to connect with their teachers. We also, students who were quarantined, who weren't sick, were able to do this as well. So they got to see their friends and their teachers while they were quarantined. All of our schools, I should have said this at the beginning, all of our schools are, elementary schools are Title I. They fall under that Title I umbrella. And we have parent and family engagement things that we have to meet. And one of those is Title I events. We have to help parents understand all the national, state, and local student performance standards and the state and local assessments through grade level nights. These nights we had to do virtually. Parents weren't able to come in and meet with teachers and engage that way. How can we meet these requirements and still engage parents? We did that virtually. We had a Duke Energy Science Night, which was really cool to see teachers engage through technology and engineering as they met with their kids virtually in the evenings. They did science experiments. They built gliders. It was great to watch. We also, around Christmas time, had a Polar Express night. Kids were in their pajamas, drinking hot chocolate, as we could connect virtually through that. Making connections. This is a great way. The active panel is unlimited possibilities. Virtual field trips. We actually, 4th grade, had an author, a poet, visit, and it was all through Google Meet. And we used our webcam again. 2 of our students got to ask the question to the poet, and he responded. It was very cool to watch. The poet could see the whole classroom. The kids could see the poet face to face through the active panel. They can meet with other classes, again, guest speakers, unlimited possibilities. Again, my name is Mary Margaret Barfield. Here is my email address. I hope that I touched on something that might interest you. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Excellent suggestions, Mary Margaret. I know that virtual and hybrid learning was such a challenge for people this year, and these are great tips and tricks. So I'm going to pass it over for a few moments to our Promethean team, just to see if we have any questions or comments for you in the chat. So Laura and Anna, do we have any feedback for Mary Margaret?
We do. They love the science. So Mary Margaret, thank you for including that. One question we had is, do they have access to this presentation?
Sure, definitely. I can share that.
Okay, perfect. And then they also love that you were actually live at your panel and demonstrating that. So that was great. And then we all know that being in this hybrid situation is so difficult and unusual, and they love the great tips.
Thanks.
We also got a comment for you that you probably have the coolest mascot ever.
Ready Watt. His name is Ready Watt. And we actually, our community housed an aluminum manufacturer. So back in the day, Ready Watt, he became our mascot.